Hey there, garden enthusiasts! Ever wondered how to grow the best onions and garlic in spring? Well, stick around because I'm about to show you exactly how to do it with minimal effort and maximum results. These two crops are not only easy to grow, but will give you that fresh homegrown flavor that'll make all your meals pop. If you've never tried growing onions or garlic in your own garden, you're missing out. These two superstars of the kitchen are some of the easiest vegetables to grow and can make a massive difference to your meals. Onions and garlic add flavor, fragrance, and that's something special to so many dishes, from stir-fries to soups to roasts. And the best part is, growing them in your garden doesn't require a ton of effort. Spring is the perfect time to plant both of these crops, and you can get started with minimal experience. Whether you're a first-time gardener or a seasoned pro, onions and garlic are great options for your spring planting. Not only are they highly versatile in the kitchen, but they're also fairly low maintenance in the garden. Once you get them in the ground, they'll grow almost like magic, and you'll be enjoying a fresh harvest in no time. But why spring specifically? Well, the answer is simple: the weather. Spring provides that ideal combination of warm days and cool nights that onions and garlic absolutely love. The cool soil temperature in spring is exactly what garlic needs for strong root development, and onions thrive best when they're planted in soil that's neither too cold nor too hot. If you plant them too early when the ground is still frozen, you risk damaging their roots. But if you wait too long and plant them when the weather is too warm, they might not grow as well or produce a smaller harvest. Spring gives you that perfect window to plant, and it ensures that your onions and garlic will be growing at their best. Another huge perk is that by the time summer comes around, your onions will be full-sized, and your garlic will be ready to harvest. So it's the perfect time to get started if you want a quick and satisfying payoff. Onions and garlic are not just great for your recipes, they're also a perfect pair in your garden. They're both part of the allium family, which includes leeks, shallots, and chives. These crops tend to grow well together because they share similar soil and sunlight needs. Not only that, but garlic is known for having natural pest repellent properties, meaning it can actually help protect your onions from bugs that might otherwise harm them. This makes them great companion plants. One benefits the other. What's also fantastic is that both onions and garlic can be grown in small spaces, which makes them ideal for backyard gardens, raised beds, or even containers. If you're tight on space, don't worry. These crops will still thrive and give you a great yield. But here's the thing. Planting your onions and garlic in the right conditions from the start is crucial to having a successful harvest. If you want big, flavorful onions and garlic that will last for months, you need to plant them at the right time, in the right type of soil, and with the right care. So, if you're ready to grow your own fresh, flavorful onions and garlic this spring, let's dive into how to do it. Now that we've got you excited about the possibilities, let's move on to the next step. Picking the right varieties of onions and garlic for your garden and preparing the soil to give them the best possible start. Ready? Let's go! Now that you're pumped about growing your own onions and garlic, let's dive into choosing the right varieties for your garden. With so many options out there, it can be a little overwhelming, but don't worry, I'm going to break it down for you. First up, onions. There are a few main types of onions you'll want to consider: bulb onions, green onions, also called scallions, and shallots. Each one has its own unique characteristics and benefits. Bulb onions. These are the classic onions you probably think of when you picture onions in your kitchen. Bulb onions come in various colors, including yellow, red, and white, and they grow into full-sized bulbs. Yellow onions are the most common and versatile, while red onions have a sweeter flavor that's perfect for salads. White onions are a little milder, and they're great for raw dishes like salsas. If you want large, flavorful onions to store and use throughout the year, bulb onions are the way to go. Green onions or scallions. Green onions are smaller and grow much quicker than bulb onions. They don't form large bulbs but instead grow long, slender stalks. These are perfect for anyone who wants fresh onions throughout the season but doesn't have a lot of space. Green onions are great for garnishes or for adding to salads and stir-fries. They're also easy to grow, so they're a great option for beginners. shallots. Shallots are a bit more gourmet and have a milder, sweeter flavor compared to regular onions. They're often used in fine dining recipes and can add a delicate taste to any dish. Shallots are more temperamental than regular onions, but if you're up for the challenge, they're definitely worth planting. Hardneck garlic. Hardneck garlic is known for its bold, robust flavor, making it a favorite for home gardeners. It thrives in cooler climates, so if you live in an area with cold winters, hardneck garlic is a great choice. One of the coolest things about hardneck garlic is that it produces a flower stalk, or scape, that's edible and has a unique flavor. Hardneck garlic tends to produce larger cloves, and although it's not as long-lasting as softneck garlic, it has a much stronger taste. Softneck garlic. Softneck garlic, on the other hand, grows well in warmer climates and doesn't produce the flower stalks like hardneck garlic. It has a milder flavor and is generally better for long-term storage. If you live in a milder climate or want to store your garlic for months at a time, softneck garlic is the way to go. It's also the type you'll typically find braided for display at the farmer's market. Now that you know what types of onions and garlic are out there, let's talk about the soil. The right soil is crucial for a successful harvest, so getting this step right is a game changer for your crop. Onions and garlic both prefer loose, well-drained, and fertile soil. They're not picky about the exact soil type, but they do need soil that allows their roots to stretch and grow without getting bogged down in heavy, compacted dirt. If you're planting in a raised bed or container, this is pretty easy to achieve. But if you're planting directly in the ground, here's how to get your soil prepped. Loosen the soil. If your soil is heavy clay or compacted, you'll need to loosen it up. The best way to do this is by adding organic matter like compost. Compost improves soil structure, increases drainage, and provides essential nutrients to your plants. You can also add sand to further break up the soil if it's really dense. Work the compost or sand into the soil to a depth of about 6 inches, ensuring the roots will have room to grow freely. Check the pH. Onions and garlic prefer slightly acidic to neutral soil with a pH level of 6 to 7. If your soil is too acidic, below 6, you can add lime to raise the pH and make it more neutral. If it's too alkaline, adding sulfur can help lower the pH. You can buy a soil pH testing kit from your local garden store to check your soil's pH level before you plant. Fertilize your soil. Onions and garlic both benefit from soil that's rich in nutrients. Before planting, add a balanced fertilizer or well-rotted compost to provide the necessary nutrients. Garlic in particular loves phosphorus, so a fertilizer high in that nutrient will help it grow large, healthy bulbs. However, be careful not to over-fertilize, as too much nitrogen can lead to lush greens but smaller bulbs. Once you've got your soil in shape, it's time to plant. The next steps are all about timing and technique, but before you get there, take a moment to admire the groundwork you've done. You're setting up your garden for success, and that's something to be proud of. Now that you've got the right varieties and soil preparation covered, you're well on your way to growing a fantastic harvest of onions and garlic this spring. Let's move on to how to plant them properly for the best results. You've done the hard work of picking the right varieties and preparing your soil. Now it's time to get your hands dirty and plant those onions and garlic. Timing is critical to ensure your crops thrive, so let's talk about when to plant. For onions, the best time to plant them is early spring, as soon as the soil is workable. In many areas, this means planting in March or early April. You want the soil to be moist and not frozen, so wait until the threat of hard frost has passed, but before the summer heat kicks in. Onions are cold hardy and can handle a bit of chill, but they do need the soil to warm up to about 40 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit for optimal growth. The earlier you plant, the sooner you'll be able to harvest your onions, usually in late summer. Garlic, on the other hand, is typically planted in the fall, around October or November, to allow it to establish strong roots over the winter. However, if you didn't get to it in the fall, don't worry. You can plant garlic in early spring too, as long as the ground isn't too frozen. Keep in mind that garlic planted in the spring will likely produce smaller bulbs than fall-planted garlic, but it'll still be tasty and worth the effort. There are a few ways to plant onions, and the method you choose depends on whether you're using onion sets, seeds, or seedlings. Onion sets. This is the easiest and quickest way to grow onions. Onion sets are small, immature bulbs that you plant directly in the ground. Simply plant each set about 1 inch deep into the soil and space them around 4 inches apart. If you're planting in rows, leave about 12 to 18 inches between rows for easy access as they grow. Onion sets are great because they give you a head start. They've already begun to grow, so you'll get a harvest sooner than if you were starting from seed. Growing onions from seed takes a little more time and effort, but it's definitely doable, especially if you have the space to start them indoors. Plant onion seeds indoors about 8 to 10 weeks before the last expected frost in your area. Once they've developed strong roots and the danger of frost has passed, you can transplant them outdoors. When transplanting, make sure to space them about 4 inches apart and plant them to the same depth they were growing in the seed tray. While onion sets are the fastest option, onion seedlings or transplants are also a good choice. These are started indoors and then transferred to the garden. They're similar to sets but have been growing for a bit longer. Plant them about 1 inch deep, just like you would with onion sets, and space them out well. Garlic is simple to plant, and the process is very straightforward. The first thing you need to do is break apart the garlic bulb into individual cloves. Each clove will grow into a full garlic bulb, so you'll need 1 clove per planting spot. You'll want to plant garlic with the pointy end facing up and the flat root side down. Planting depth and spacing. Plant each garlic clove about 2 inches deep into the soil. Make sure to space them 6 inches apart to allow the garlic bulbs plenty of room to grow large and healthy. If you're planting in rows, space the rows about 12 to 18 inches apart to allow for easy access and air circulation. Choosing the right spot. Garlic loves the sun, so make sure to plant it in a sunny spot where it will get at least 6 hours of direct sunlight per day. If you're planting garlic in the spring instead of fall, remember that it may need extra attention in the early stages since it hasn't had the winter chill to help it establish roots. But don't worry, garlic can still grow beautifully when planted in spring with proper care. Proper spacing is crucial for both onions and garlic. If you crowd them too closely together, they'll have to fight for nutrients, water, and sunlight, which can stunt their growth and lead to smaller bulbs. For onions, aim for 4 inches between each plant, and for garlic, give each clove 6 inches of space. When planting in rows, space the rows about 12 to 18 inches apart to allow your plants enough room to stretch out and grow. Once your onions and garlic are in the ground, it's important to give them a good drink of water. Both crops love moisture, but they don't want to sit in soggy soil, so make sure the soil drains well. Water them gently, especially in the first few weeks, to encourage the roots to establish. After that, you can reduce the frequency of watering but keep the soil consistently moist. Now that your onions and garlic are planted, the hard part is over. But don't relax just yet, there's still care and maintenance to think about. Let's move on to the next step, taking care of your crops and knowing when it's time to harvest them. Stay tuned for the next part where we dive into watering, weeding, and watching your garden thrive. Now that your onions and garlic are safely planted, it's time to focus on keeping them happy and healthy as they grow. One of the key factors to success is watering. Both onions and garlic need consistent moisture to grow well, but they don't like to sit in waterlogged soil. The trick is to find the perfect balance, moist but not soggy. Water your plants regularly, especially during dry spells, but make sure the soil is well drained. If your garden tends to get heavy or clayey soil, adding compost can help with drainage. A drip irrigation system or soaker hose is ideal because it provides a slow, steady stream of water that goes directly to the roots, reducing the chance of water sitting on the leaves, which could lead to diseases. As your plants grow, keep an eye on the soil moisture. Onions and garlic prefer consistently moist soil, so if the weather is particularly hot or dry, you may need to water more frequently. That said, once your garlic and onions are well established, they become somewhat drought tolerant, but they'll still appreciate regular watering to promote big, flavorful bulbs. Weeds are another factor to keep an eye on when growing onions and garlic. Weeds compete with your plants for nutrients, water, and sunlight, which can stunt their growth. Keeping your garden bed weed-free will give your onions and garlic the best chance to thrive. One of the best ways to keep weeds under control is by mulching around your plants. Mulch helps prevent weeds from sprouting by blocking sunlight and also helps retain moisture in the soil. You can use organic mulch like straw, grass clippings, or leaves. Just make sure the mulch is applied lightly and not too thick, so the soil can still breathe. Mulching also keeps the soil cool in the summer and provides a nice cushion for the onions and garlic as they grow. If you prefer not to use mulch, make sure to regularly check for weeds and pull them out by hand. It's much easier to remove weeds when they are small, so try to get to them as soon as you spot them. Both onions and garlic are heavy feeders, meaning they need a steady supply of nutrients to grow strong and healthy. Start by fertilizing before planting, using a balanced fertilizer or compost. But once your crops are in the ground, they'll need a little extra food to thrive. For onions, a light feeding every 4 to 6 weeks with a balanced fertilizer will encourage steady growth. Avoid using high nitrogen fertilizers after the plants have matured, as it can lead to lush green growth without the bulb development you're looking for. Garlic benefits from a higher phosphorus fertilizer, which helps with bulb formation. While onions and garlic are fairly hardy, they can still fall prey to pests and diseases. Keep an eye out for common garden pests such as aphids, thrips, and onion flies. Aphids are tiny insects that suck sap from the plants, and thrips are small, slender bugs that can cause scarring on the leaves. Onion flies lay their eggs near the base of the plants and their larvae can cause damage to the bulbs. A good way to keep pests in check is by using row covers or simply manually removing them if you notice any signs of infestation. Diseases like downy mildew and rust can also affect onions, while garlic is susceptible to fungal diseases like white rot. To prevent disease, make sure you're practicing crop rotation in your garden, and avoid planting onions and garlic in the same spot year after year. Ensuring proper air circulation around your plants also helps prevent fungal growth. The best part of growing onions and garlic is, of course, the harvest. Knowing when to harvest is key to getting the best flavor and storage life. For onions, you'll know they're ready when the tops of the plants start to fall over and turn yellow. This usually happens in late summer or early fall. Once the tops have fallen, allow your onions to sit in the ground for a few more days to finish maturing. Then gently pull them up and lay them out to dry in a shaded, well-ventilated area. For garlic, timing is slightly different. You'll want to harvest garlic when the lower third of the leaves have turned brown, but the top 2/3 of the leaves are still green. If you wait too long, the bulbs might start to split open. Carefully dig up the garlic bulbs and leave them to cure in a cool, dry place for 2 to 3 weeks. Once cured, you can trim the stems and roots and store your garlic in a cool, dry, and dark place for long-term storage. Caring for your onions and garlic might seem like a lot of work, but trust me, it's all worth it when you see those beautiful bulbs popping up, and you get to enjoy the delicious fruits of your labor. It's incredibly rewarding to know that the onions you're chopping up for your next stir-fry, or the garlic you're using to flavor your pasta sauce came from your own backyard. Remember to stay on top of watering, weeding, and feeding, and you'll be rewarded with a bountiful harvest. Keep an eye out for pests and diseases and don't be afraid to harvest a little early if you're unsure. It's better to get them out of the ground than leave them in too long. With just a little care and attention, you'll be a pro at growing onions and garlic in no time. So go ahead, get your hands in the dirt, and grow some amazing onions and garlic this spring. Happy gardening, and don't forget to share your progress with me in the comments. I'd love to hear how your garden is growing.